Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was an age undreamed of. And unto this, Conan, destined to bear the jeweled crown of Aquilonia upon a troubled brow. It is I, his chronicler, who alone can tell thee of his saga. Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Welcome to a special episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed of. In this tale, Hjalmar will play Bracus, who was once the captain of an Argosian sea raider, but after a series of bad choices and increasing gambling debts, he lost both his crew and ship, and was forced to flee Argos. Before he left Argos, he met a traveler from Turan, who told him of a city of treasures lost in the desert south of Karaja, and sold him a rough map there. Traveling to Karaja, Bracus met up with an old acquaintance, Asher, who agreed to help Bracus in return for 50% of the profits. A plan was hatched between him and Asher, a journey across the desert to Iranistan, but its true purpose would only be known by those two. Craig will play Leonitus, who is the son of a Kothian noble. To make his parents proud, he joined the Kothian army and quickly rose in rank, becoming a captain in charge of his own company. However, a scouting mission into the deserts south of Karaja resulted in the death of his entire company. Leonidas witnessed firsthand what happened. Creatures the likes which he has never seen before emerged from the sands and tore through the company like they were nothing. Leonidas barely escaped with his life, but ever since that night, he's had haunting dreams about those creatures and of a city lost in the sands. When Leonidas returned, his family disowned him, calling him a coward. He began raving about the creatures in the sands and of an ancient god that calls him to a city of shadows. Soon he was exiled, and the Kothian found his way to Karaja, where he became an outlaw and a mercenary. Now, the dreams have gotten worse, and he's haunted by the ghosts of his fallen comrades. He needs answers, but first, he needs coin.
It has been far too long a journey since you left the gates of Karaja, and already the desert is starting to take its toll. Sand whips at your feet as you sit by the fire, desperately trying to keep warm in the cold desert night. The stars are beautiful, and there's no sign of civilization to be found, just a vast expanse of sand occasionally broken up by rock and ancient stone. Asher sits quietly, his back resting against a mound of rock as he smokes a pipe, his eyes half lidded as the smoke rises and twists, spiraling up into the cold night air. We're looking at the situation. You are kind of in a ruin. It's probably from one of the old civilizations, essentially. And there is a statue with some broken pillars. Something where you could take a bit of shelter against probably the cold chill of the desert, because it gets very cold in the desert at night.
I am watching the wastes, always alert. Every now and then I see a flicker of a shadow, and I admit it's taking a lot of effort not to imagine things that are not there. I would not have come here by choice. The coin has led me here. There is little I can do. Hopefully, whatever it is, will be quick. Merchant, it's like any merchant. And this Bracus seems a reasonable enough man for a guide trip. Slightly suspicious of him, but who am I to be suspicious of people these days? How far I have fallen.
I seem to have been dozing off almost, sitting there in a little bit of a corner, and I had been sipping a strange little bottle that you're not sure what is in it, but now I'm lying back with a hat slouched down over my eyes, and there's a slight snore coming from my side.
It's fairly quiet, and the night goes on for a little while, and then you hear a whooping noise in the distance, followed by spots of torchlight flickering just in the horizon.
What was that? I pull up the brim of my hat.
I am unsure. Movement. And I will sort of retreat a little into the safety of the ruins. I do not wish to be seen.
I sit up and I look. What can it be? I look over to Asher.
Asher's still kind of half-lidded, and he kind of stops smoking his pipe and looks over and goes, "Oh, we need to put out the fires." And he just basically runs off and starts basically packing stuff onto the camel rather quickly.
I sit up and clumsily I start stomping out the fire and pouring some sand over it.
I get my dagger ready, but yes, I will assist and move to help him get things back on the wagon. I imagine, knowing these parts, might I have a hint of who they could be?
Yeah, so you can make an insight roll.
Yes.
So it's 2d20.
2d20, and my insight is... I want to get 12 on these, yes?
Yeah, so you're looking for 12, or do you have a focus in it?
I have 2 focus.
So if you get a 2 on it, it will count as 2 successes rather than just 1 on that one dice. So, let's have a look.
I got a 2
That's...
and a 5.
Okay,
so is that 3 successes?
That is 3 successes. You needed to get basically 2 successes, so that is actually going to generate you 1 momentum, which you can use to do certain things in the game. So you look over and you're like, yeah, you recognize the kind of the tattered rags, the glint of steel, and you go, yeah, bandits.
Of course. Although I'm surprised. It's a bit daring for them to be doing this sort of thing at night.
How many are there?
How many are there?
There are about 20 of them.
A lot. We need to go now. Ready the horses.
Right. I'll get my stuff ready and I start filling it with it into the bags and getting up from my horse.
Do I think they've seen us?
You think that they might have seen the fire, and they might be following something. If they've seen you, you don't yet know. As you're putting the fire out, leading at the front of the riders, a ragged, powerfully built man with an eye patch and a long braided black beard lifts up his hand and motions for the others to stop. He has the feel of a warrior about him, his muscular arms scarred and blood-stained blade gripped in an iron hand. He's got off his horse and he is shouting something in, you think it might be Shemetish, essentially. I don't know if any of you actually would know Shemetish.
No. I would not.
And so, yeah, you just hear another language that you don't understand, and he's kind of motioning about. It's very heavily accented Shemetish, and yes, they unsaddle their horses, blades at the ready. They are holding torches, kind of just glancing around, looking for you, and it looks like they're looking for tracks or any kind of like sign of life. But because you've put out the camp, and because you were very quick to react, they have not yet seen you.
Do we think we can just scamper out of there, or should we try and hide? What would make a better choice? I'm whispering this perhaps to you fellas. To Asher and Leonitus. It's just the 3 of us, right?
Yeah, it's just the 3 of us, yeah. Asher says, well, I would much prefer that we leave right now.
Of course you would.
What about you, Leonitus? You got a better idea?
No. We move now. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Would you like to move stealthily away? Basically, kind of guiding your horses, because they would hear the galloping of the horses.
I shall attempt to lead us on in a stealthy manner. I myself am adept at moving in stealth.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Living shadow, you
So, yeah, what we could do is an assist action. Essentially, what will happen is that you're rolling your stealth, and then you just need to roll 1d20, essentially. And if you get a success on that d20 on stealth, it adds to the successes of Leonitus's d20s.
Awesome. I also, as Living Shadow, am adept at this sort of thing, which means that I gain bonus momentum equal to my ranks in this talent.
Yes.
So
You are
stealth
very adept
is-
at staying hidden.
What's my rank in stealth? Is it the
So
focus?
yeah,
three?
it's basically the it would be 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So who should roll first?
It should be you first, because even if Bracus got it, it still wouldn't count if you didn't get it. So we'll go with Leonitus first, and then
I sort
Bracus
of
on
attempt
insist.
to lead these two on, using hand gestures at first, and then when I realise they probably don't understand those things, they are not educated, I will resort to some quiet commands. I'm hoping they will be able to follow and not hold me back too much. One fail, a 20,
So
but
it's
the
a
other
20.
one is a 2,
yeah,
so that succeeds, and I have a focus of 3, which means that succeeds twice.
yeah.
2
So
successes.
20s are not fails; they just add a little bit of a complication to what's going on. So you succeed, but with a complication. In this kind of situation, I'm going to say that it's the desert, and you feel kind of a strong wind starting to come through as dust starts blowing through the desert. It's going to make things a little bit harder to see now, and a little bit harder to navigate. It's not quite a sandstorm, but it's getting quite dusty.
All right. I'll try to follow and come along there. Well, I don't help very much. I roll a 14 over 10.
Yeah, so you don't assist it in any way, unfortunately. But yeah, you take your time. They are quite far away from you, so it would take them a little bit of a time to get to you. So by the time you've helped get the horses through, and Asher's rather stubborn camel, you get him through, you're gone. And they are still pretty much just looking in the same space that they were before.
Oh, look at them, like fireflies lost in the wilderness.
It's not a laughing matter, Bracus. They could easily have taken us. Far too many of them for even me to have held them off.
Yes, well, with all that whooping, not much risk of them sneaking up. Well done in getting us out of there. What
Thank
now then?
I hold my hand up, noticing the increasing sandstorm coming, and think to myself, now we need to find somewhere else to stay. Does my skill in survival maybe help me start looking for a place?
So yeah, if you make a survival roll, I'm going to say this is going to be, because of sandstorm, it's going to add a little bit more of a difficulty to the finding somewhere to basically rest.
This is true. However, as I am a vagabond, does that then offset the difficulty?
It does indeed, yes, that's exactly right, and that's how talents work.
Nice.
So yeah, you are going to be looking at difficulty 2, so you need to get 2 successes.
7 and 6. So I roll 2 successes.
2 successes, yes. You find after a while a small cave. It's just big enough for you to get everyone in and shelter a little bit. On closer expansion, it doesn't seem to actually be a cave. It's some rock built around a kind of an old ancient structure. It might have been a house once or something like that.
So it's all constructed. I have a sniff of the air. Do I notice anything interesting?
Nothing really interesting. It's very, very ancient. So the most you get is a little bit of damp.
Well, all right. This seems all right. I try to look around for any like creatures or anything that when I've taken shelter in here.
Nothing seems to be taking shelter in here. It's, however, very full of sand from all the sandstorms that have blown in over the years. It's just got caught in there.
I'm still grateful for having found it. easy to miss, but I am used to looking for the small things in these deserts. It'll do. It'll do.
Is there a structure inside the structure that we could get into that?
It's just a small contained little structure. It might have led once a long time ago into a larger structure, but that larger structure is probably lost to time.
I shiver a bit because it's cold. A cold desert night, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eager to get a new fire started. I mean, at least if we're in here, they wouldn't see it from the outside, would they?
With this storm, you'd have to be quite foolhardy to follow your prey, even if it was tempting. I think for now we'll be safe, at least from them.
You got that right. And I start gathering up whatever I have that could start a fire.
So you start a fire, and as you said, essentially they would be fools to follow you into the storm. They've probably, as the sandstorm has got worse and worse, they've turned back. They've gone the way that they've come. And so, after some well-earned rest, the time comes for you to continue your journey. You saddle your horses and head out back into that sea of sand.
Good. My night wasn't pleasant. Of course, as always, the dreams. But dawn brings light.
As you are sleeping, you get these flashes of inhuman creatures. They have humanoid features to them, but the way that they move, the way that they kind of snarl and slobber, they're like rabid dogs. And you get these flashes of these creatures in an old cave. And yes, they just get gradually worse and worse until, you wake up with a start.
And I greet the dawn, wipe the sweat from my forehead, and check the others, and get ready to move on.
Asher is very much ready to go. He's constantly glancing over his shoulder. It definitely seems like he might be hiding something.
I look at him. What's that you got there, Asher?
Well,
did you find something?
I didn't find something, but it's about those raiders last night. I think I know who they were.
I narrow my eyes at him.
He turns to Bracus. His face goes pale, and he says, "Well, I talked. Back in Karaja, these folks cornered me, and I told them everything. The lost city, all of it."
You bastard! But they were after the treasure then?
Yes, they were. That man in front, I owe him a lot of coin.
But are you saying the camping ground that we had, was that part of the lost city?
I don't think it was. And he pulls out a dusty map. Although I can't make heads or tails of this map. None of the locations on here line up with any of the landmarks that I've seen.
Did you show him this map?
I did not show him the map, but I told him.
It's at this point I raise a hand, a step forward. You will explain now. What nonsense is this? You told me a simple journey, a guide to take you from one spot to another.
I did not lie, my friend.
You twisted the truth. Bracus, what is the meaning of this?
I scratched the back of my forehead and, I was figuring you might be having second reasons for trying to cross the desert as well. Maybe I thought you had Are you familiar with this lost city?
Frown a little. I am and I'm not, right?
You don't remember much of what happened all those years ago, but now and again flashes come back to you, and the landscape that you're in, you're getting a sense of deja vu.
And I see this, I see the frown, and I raise my eyebrows and my eyes grow a bit wide, seeing his hesitation. You do know something, don't you?
Once I knew these lands. That is why I agreed to be a guide, but I can assure you, any fool's errand to venture into the wastes in search of, what did you say, a lost city, is madness, and if you are intent on following it through, I would recommend that we turn back.
But think of the treasures, the things that could be hidden in such a place. Did you see how big of that company was that was hunting us? Just imagine if they put so much effort into it, surely they're...
Is that what your interest in this has always been, Bracus? Are you simply a fortune hunter?
Well, I have bills to pay. Debts.
I frown. I crunch my fists together. I sigh. How long exactly until we reach where you want it to be?
So he gets out his map and goes, well, I believe it is, we are at the last leg of the journey, I believe. It will not be long, and then we'll have treasure. So much treasure. We'll live like kings. No more selling knickknacks. No more camel. And at that point, the camel spits at him. He goes, I am very sorry, my friend, but you really do stink.
I fall across my arms and I say, remember that it was my idea that we'd go find this treasure in the first place, Asher. You're just my partner in this, and now well, you get paid nicely enough, don't you, anyway, so...
I will be paid double the amount we agreed.
Of course, but the treasure is ours, yes?
Yes, we said 50-50.
Yes.
But I know you would sell me out, you bastard.
You can keep whatever treasure you find. All I'll need is normal coin.
That's what you said, double the pay. It's fine. We're gonna find it. We'll be rich.
I am not entirely happy with this turn of events. Yet the coin. I do need the coin, damn it. Without it, I have no hope at all of ever regaining anything I've lost. This feeling I have. I'm going to try my best to ignore it for now.
You're talking as you're traveling along. Asher is looking at his map constantly, and then he just kind of brings everyone to a stop and says, why do I get the feeling we are heading in circles? Blast this desert and blast this heat. By Ishtar, I swear we are lost. And he calls Leonitus over, holds up the map and goes, can you make any sense of this?
I shall examine the map and try and make sense of it.
Yeah, so let's do an observation.
Observation roll. That is 1 success and a complication on it.
1 success and a complication. So at this point, I am just going to take some doom as the complication.
A nice simple one, yes.
You look at the map for a while, and you kind of scan the horizon. Unfortunately, nothing of it seems familiar. However, I'd like both Leonidas and Bracus to make observation rolls.
No successes.
No successes.
I squint at the horizon and the blasted landscape around me. Oh, is that a 1?
Yeah, the phoenix on the symbol is the one. Yeah.
Alright, so I can also re-roll 1.
Yeah.
Because I'm a superb observationeer. I got sharp senses.
Yeah.
And that is 1 success there, and then 1 under 4 focus.
Yep, so we've got 3 successes in total. Yeah, you definitely see a kind of a glinting in the distance, something sparkling under the sun.
My headband slips down in my eye and I pull it up and I see, what's that over there? And I point.
I was too busy focusing on this goddamn badly written map and I'm like, what?
Wait, do you see it? There, just in the distance, something sparkles. By Ishtar, I think that might be it.
Well, let's go then.
Ashton stuffs the map back into his bag and with a hut, he rides off towards the glimmer in the distance.
The desert we're in, what's its relation to the country we're in?
It pretty much doesn't have a country. It is a vast desert. Just below Karaja, it is a lawless land.
What's the nearest civilization then?
The nearest civilization might be Ranistan or Karaja, and with also a little bit of Shem.
I see. As we are approaching, I just side along to Arbus. Has it occurred to you that there's a reason the great lost city, as you put it, full of treasure, hasn't already been found by someone else and had all the treasures taken?
Yes, Asher kind of strokes his beard and goes, well, there must be a reason that they call it the City of Shadows, and they say that it has been erased from time, which is very interesting because the only way that we found out about the city is that it was in some old texts and things like that. But nobody actually seems to know the location apart from that old map that Bracus found.
Well,
And where did you find this?
it was a trustworthy source. It was a traveler from Tehran. He sold me the map. He had been to I think he said he had seen glimpses of this city himself, and he didn't dare to go there, but he had made a rough map of it. It seems to be accurate now. So you see that glint over there? Are you saying you've been out here yourself, Leonidas?
Again, I told you earlier, once, I knew these lands. I know many lands. I've travelled for quite a few years now.
And I kind of bite my lip at his sort of grim approach. I was like, well, fine, that's good, I suppose. Let's have a look then.
Ash has already gone ahead of you. He's racing along with his camel, and he comes to a stop in front of this vast walled city. And the glinting that you see is actually, they've encrusted jewels on the spires of towers inside the city. He stops at the front of the gates, kind of looks around to see if there's any way in, and then an arrow comes, and then another arrow comes, not at him, but just kind of by his feet, and a man in a kind of gilt-worked armour pokes his head up and goes, "Away with you! Thieves and brigands, you shall not enter the city of Scylla."
Oh, so it's not lost then.
I will hold up my hand and say, "Stay your arrow. We are merely travelling past."
Who are you? You reside here? Are you like an encampment?
No, we are guarding the city. There is a festival on today, and we wish it not to be disturbed.
Ah, a festival? Can we not join it?
Do you think you are worthy enough?
That depends. Who are you saying? Who are you? What are you celebrating?
The chosen has been chosen.
Well, of course we want to celebrate the chosen. Good thing for him.
Can you make a persuade roll?
Yeah.
While this is happening, I'm just looking at Bracus with a hint of mild, what on earth is he talking about?
Is this a link?
Also, this man, how does he look?
He looks like a typical city guard, except that his clothes are a lot more lavish. There's a lot more gold to it. And even his bow has like a hint of a strand of gold kind of going through the wood.
Does he look local?
He definitely looks like he might belong to the city. It's the same kind of opulence we're talking about.
I suppose my questioning at this point is thinking that this guide's so-called lost city doesn't seem like a lost city at all. Is he just taking us to the nearest town? Fool.
At this point, Asher is actually very confused, and he looks like a tourist, just kind of with his map, just aimlessly kind of wandering around, going like, this seems right, but.
Well, there's complications, but I do roll one success. It's an 11 under 13. So I say, we would love to join your festival.
Okay, so the complication is actually going to be a little hidden effect that will may hinder you a little bit later on. Something has happened in the background, and so yeah, the door's open. And you enter into the city, and it's a very lavish festival going on. There's a lot of singing, a lot of dancing. There's a fire eater, and there's a few little games going on. One that's really curious is that a bunch of rather birdy men are all standing around a barrel and putting their hand into it.
My curiosity is piqued, so I move up and try to see what's in the barrel.
Yeah, there is just a lot of scorpions in that barrel, and it looks like someone's put a gem in it. It seems to be some kind of test of their willpower in order to basically grab the gem from the barrel of scorpions.
Ooh, that is tempting. I wonder if I could reach down and grab that one. Where do I stand in line?
Yeah, so you watch the first guy go, and he puts his hand in and kind of just basically pulls it out before he gets in. And then the next guy goes to put his hand in, then thinks second of it. No. So it's now your turn.
I take a look, like, first. Is it a nice gem?
It is a very nice gem. It's about the size of your fist.
Ooh, I wonder who that one belonged to. Why would they put this up for grabs? Well, maybe if I quickly, just when there's an opening, dash one aside and grab it.
We're going to be doing a thievery roll, and I believe you have some awesome sleight of hand stuff that you can do.
I do indeed. And I'm going to, very gently, I'll give out a bit of a shout, and I'll say, "Oh!" and I'll bump the crate a little to one side so I can reach down and grab it as these scorpions go to the others. Yeah. I roll a 4 and a 5. And what do you do? It's thievery, did you say? Or which one?
Thievery, yeah.
Yes. Well, I roll 4 and a 5 under 9.
So, yeah, you easily make it in, and you grab the jewel, and when you feel like a scratch of the scorpion's like sting, you don't feel any venom. It feels like they might have somehow devenomed them, and that it's basically a test of bravery rather than being foolish. So you pull out the gem. It's weighty. It feels good. You're not quite sure what kind of gem it is. It's a kind of light blue, and it sparkles in the sun.
And well, you see that? See that? Not a scratch. And I look at you, Leonitus and Asher.
I grunt a little in idle amusement, but sultry activities are beneath me.
And I look at the losers that were standing around, and I was like, well, I guess drinks on me.
Everyone claps, and one of the really birdy guys, like, he's really muscular, just kind of like pats you really hard on the back. He goes, "Yeah, well done."
Cheers.
While that's happening, I go up to Asher.
Yes.
And I am relieved. I was worried for a moment there. I thought to myself that I'd truly gone down a dangerous path, but he was wrong. His foolish map has led them to some... I suppose I should know this place, but I do not recall it. Still, at least we are not going to any dark temple of doom. And I will say to Asher, I will resend my double fee. I've guided you to this wherever it is. It seems we'll be returning back home, and you'll have to re-look at your map.
As you're talking to him, you hear a scream in the distance, and kind of a commotion coming from just behind the marketplace in a little house where a young woman is being cornered by several guards. There's about 2 of them, and also a man that's very gaunt. He's got a pointed black beard, very thin, and he's in a black cloak. He definitely looks like he might be Stygian. Stygia is kind of your ancient Egypt analog, essentially. A place of sorcery.
So do I hear the scream as well?
Yes, you hear the scream.
And I quickly put the gem inside my vest and I look over.
The strange thing is, everyone else also hear the scream. They do not react.
It is not my place to interfere with things, especially in a sort of city like this? Now we've actually come into the city a bit more proper. Like, what sort of city? You said it was had towers.
Yes, it's very, very grand. Think of a very grand kind of Arabian Nights kind of feel to it. But even taken even further in that opulence, kind of, there's a lot of gold, a lot of gems everywhere. And then you've also got the very poor.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of people as well.
There's a lot of people in
So
this
it
place.
seems like quite a large city. Interesting. Yes, no, I'm no longer comfortable in places like this, really. I will watch this scene. I'm curious, but I am not going to go and interfere.
You see is the girl is being basically pulled by two guards and a kind of a barrel-chested man with kind of shaggy black hair and kind of desert-worn skin is kind of waving his blade at the guards and saying, "No, you shall not take her."
I was trying to defend her. Is she pretty?
She is very pretty. She has dusky skin, very jet black hair, very beautiful. She has the look of the Shemites about her.
I'll go over and see what the whole thing is about.
I notice Bracus head over. Just before he's about to step, I just go, "What are you doing?"
Well, she's in trouble, isn't she?
Is she? How do you know?
Well, it looks like she doesn't want to be taken away by those guards.
Maybe
Someone
she's
is
committed a crime. Maybe she has angered someone powerful. What business is it of ours?
Well, I'm just curious to see what what transpires.
Yes, and what you see is transpiring is the rather gaunt Stygian is basically kind of raises his hands and says, "You have been chosen, Shana. Now you will come with us. It is your time."
Oh, is this what we're all celebrating? And I wander up to them like, "Hey, little friend," like, put my arms on their shoulders.
Yes, yes, she has been chosen. She will be taken to the god below.
God below.
Yes, she will be taken to the god below, and she will appease his wrath.
Have I heard of a god below?
You have not heard of a god below, but part of you is getting tinges of, "This is sounding familiar."
Yes, it's strange. I have a sudden chill on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
And I feel something calling me, don't I?
Yes, you definitely feel something calling you. You feel kind of like, it's almost like the ground beneath you has a heartbeat. It's saying, "Come to me, come to me, come to me."
I, bite my lip a little bit. Unsure what to do in this situation. So are you going to have, this is the ceremony, is it?
Yes, she will be taken for preparation, and then she will be taken below. And the barrel-chested man with the shaggy black hair goes, "No, she will not be taken. Not down there."
Are you her father or something?
Yes, I am a father. My name is Ramin.
Hello, Ramin.
Hello.
Congratulations on your daughter being the chosen one.
It is not a time for celebration. She is doomed.
I kind of wait for them to sort of take her away so I can talk to the father, perhaps. Or I see what they're going to do. I'm not going to interfere immediately in this.
Yeah, so they, unfortunately, they start to take her away. And Ramin's like, "No, you cannot let her take her. Please, my friends, you must help me."
You want me to help you?
Yes.
What she will do, fight the guards? Seems the whole city is up and celebrating about this. How do you suggest we just snatch her and take her out of here?
We've been trying to get out. But, you see, those walls aren't to keep people out. They're to keep people in.
Oh.
What do you mean?
to feed the god below. They let people in well enough. They put on the ruse of saying, "No, you cannot come in." But they welcome you. It's when you want to leave. They will never let you leave.
Who? The Stygians?
The cult.
Oh.
Yes, there is a darkness in the city. a cult led by Skulva. You met him. He just taken my daughter. We must get her back.
Oh, was that the fella there that looked all moody and stuff?
Yes, that was him.
Are you telling us that if we were to try to leave now, what would happen? They would try and stop us.
Yes, they would try and stop you.
What about this place below? Is this open for other people, or is it just for them?
I do not know how to get there, but there is a story that below this city is another much more ancient city. A city from the time of the Lemurians and of the Atlanteans. A city that holds dark and ancient secrets.
Must be the city we're looking for. Leonitus, don't you want to go down there?
I sort of stare to the distance for a moment. I don't want to go down there, and yet that pull to go down there. I have no desire to go hunting whatever you want to hunt. However, I cannot stay in this city forever. Ugh.
So at this point, Asher has been gone for a while, and you kind of look around for him. He doesn't seem to be anywhere around.
Oh, we lost our payment.
Yeah, where's Asher? I look around. Asher, where are you?
There's no answer.
And are people still just celebrating, going about their business?
Yeah.
I go back to the father. How often is someone chosen?
It's with every moon, unfortunately.
Screw him. I can pay if we finish this. You know, let's go down there. We'll find something great.
And how do you intend to deal with those who will then stop us leaving this city?
Well, maybe there's a way out through the underground.
It goes against all my better judgment, but again, I just feel that pull, and if anything, I just wish to silence it. Could that be even possible? I haven't ever really considered that it could be. I will accompany you for now. If only to maybe get a better plan to get out of here.
I crack up in a broad smile, and I say, that's the spirit. Let's see what way these fellas took her.
So you head out back into the marketplace. There's still people celebrating, even despite the fact that a girl has just been dragged through the streets. What would you like to do?
I would like to see if we can find the trail, basically where she was dragged to. And I don't care about Asher. I'm quite happy and pleased that he's gone. He helped me get here, and now we're here, so...
You can kind of see some kind of small procession heading up towards the temple. The temple is very central to the city, so it definitely seems that that might be the location of where they're taking it. Maybe for the preparation, you do not know.
Okay, so how does this temple look? Is it have access to...
So the temple is actually in kind of a dire contrast to the rest of the city. There's no extravagance to it. It seems very much made for purpose. There is a very grim-looking old statue in the very center, and then there's a few fonts which are basically used for people to put their donations to the cult.
And is the public moving in and out of this temple? Or?
There doesn't seem to be anyone in the temple at the moment.
Huh. Well, that's curious. I'll try sneaking in and keeping to the shadows.
Yes. So as you enter, you kind of hear coming from underneath. Coming from underneath.
I raise my eyebrows and I nod intently at Leonitus.
I attempt to examine this area. My theory is maybe there is some way down into the lower levels.
Yeah, so it's an observation roll.
Phoenix, which is 1. So
Yes.
that would be 2 successes.
2 successes on the dice.
And 2 successes, yeah.
2 successes in total. Yes, so we're just going to go on time rather than success rate. So you kind of just spend a little time looking around, and then you notice some drag marks just by the statue. It looks like it might be pushed or dragged in some way.
I shall attempt to lightly push the statue.
Okay,
And seeing what he's doing, I move up to him. Oh, well spotted.
so athletics roll, and is Bracus going to assist with the push?
I'm going to very much enjoy watching him try to push first.
2 successes.
It budges slightly, and you kind of get just some blast of like very cold, damp air from underneath.
As I'm pushing, which admittedly is quite difficult, I'm not that strong a man, I find myself wondering, is this the best way to be doing this?
And as soon as there is an opening, I'm going to slink through it.
It spends a little bit more time. It gets more and more distant, more and more muffled until it dies out and it's gone completely. And just at that moment, you push it open and you see a rocky staircase kind of descending into a cave. A very damp, very dark cave.
I find myself pausing for a moment. This is not a very cautious way of approaching the situation, but I don't really see I have a choice now. I've come this far. It's not like I haven't had to do some roguish activities of late in my life. How far I have fallen. I look at this vagabond and seem to question, how can you seem so excited about all this?
And I look up and I meet your gaze and I adjust my headband. Then I say, wow, if it's truly an ancient city, a complete city, just imagine what could be down there. Aren't you curious about something like that?
No. And I begin moving down, going, I suppose I have to be.
I giggle to myself and I start following after him, trying to be light on my feet.
Do any of you have torches?
No, as we go down, is it quite evident it's getting dark?
It gets very, very dark. There is something that's giving it a little bit of illumination, something kind of glinting now and again, but it just kind of darts about.
Well, that's no good, is it?
I'll take a few steps back. Was there any sort of torch gone or
Yeah, you can take a torch.
in the
In the
above us?
temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll quickly go back, being stealthy about it, because I'm wondering if... In fact, actually, just before I duck down into that passageway, I do look around. Still no people even remotely coming near this place.
No. It's strange because the procession ended and it's like they vanished. Obviously, they've probably gone down into the cave. But yes.
Yes, I shall head down.
I wonder if I need to... Well, as you start lighting up the torch and heading down, I try to pull the statue to again, I suppose, because somehow they must be able to do that from under it.
Yes, they do. Yeah, there's like a small kind of bar that they can kind of pull it along.
Yeah, so I'll close the way behind us, not to cause suspicion.
You enter down into the cave and it feels very alien as you're entering. In fact, when you enter sorcerous kind of places, dark and evil places, it generates extra doom. So, yes, kind of gives you the sense that there's something not quite right with this place. And it feels as alien as the kind of ice waters of Nordheim basically would to someone from the desert. It's a chill that kind of goes through your entire body and just sets you on ease. And can Leonitus make me a discipline roll?
Very good. And this happens because I am courageous. I can re-roll a dice, though the second result will stand. Every point of discipline focus you gain 1 courage soak as well.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
So I feel this shiver.
Yes.
Admit, there's a feeling of dread about me, but I resolve.
There's also a sense of deja vu.
Yes, but I resolved that I would not give in again. I got so much the first time. I will try and steel myself. And I get 2 successes. I shall not re-roll any of those.
Yes, so 2 successes is good. 2 successes means that you're not going to be taking any courage damage at all. And you steel yourself and continue onwards. The tunnel gets dark, very dark. Now and again you get these glints of that kind of slight illumination all around you. And you start to hear a kind of meeping, chittering noise all around you. Can you all make discipline checks for me, please?
I feel tense again, but this time it is not because of some internal feeling. What on earth is that? I shall re-roll the 14. Do I get a success if I meet the number?
Yes, you do.
So 2 successes again.
2 successes, you're fine.
Well, I get 1.
So you are going to be taking a little bit of courage damage. Actually, you are not, because I rolled really badly on the damage. so in fact, you're fine. You're fine.
I shiver a little.
Yeah, you feel a little bit of unsettling, but it's not enough to go against your steely resolve.
Yes, and I can't really make out if I'm scared, nervous, or excited, or just a mix of them. What is that? And I'm looking around, trying to figure out what the sound comes from.
Yes, so you get a sense that the noise is pretty much all around you. It's coming from different kind of like openings in the cave, like small openings, and it's just kind of carrying through the cave.
But nothing visible that makes it.
Nothing at the moment.
Yes, like I said, I shiver a bit, and then I try to look around. Do we have any idea where we're supposed to go?
I guess onwards. And you notice a kind of blanket of something white kind of lining the rest of the cave tunnel as you go onwards.
Something white.
Bones. A lot of bones.
I imagine they have had many chosen.
Well, yes. These people like to party.
In my homeland of Koth, what is the primary religion?
So the primary religion is, they basically have a lot of different religions. So we're looking at Mitra, Ishtar. There might even be some people, crazy people, that worship the spider god. So there's all kinds of different religions.
So would something like this be... I don't know if it would be a shock to me, the idea of cultists, a religion formed on the bones of its sacrificial victim. That's quite a normal thing.
It's unfortunately a kind of a normal thing in the Hyborian Age. It's probably talked about in stories rather than encountered a lot. There'll be like some adventurers said, like, I found this cult on this island, and yes, they were sacrificing someone.
Yes. This sight doesn't unsettle me as much as the unseen things have. Well, this is your lost city.
Well, I feel more of a... Rather than feeling scared, I feel like maybe that my spirit is dampened because I'm starting to question if there's really going to be anything of value down here. But I hope there is. I don't want to give up for nothing.
You continue onwards, and you're going to be now making your way across those bones, so you're going to have to be very careful, or you're going to create quite a lot of noise under that crack.
Of course, but I'm always careful.
Yes.
And always stealthy, so I will once again try and be very careful here.
You'll be quite light on your feet. It can either be stealth or acrobatics if you want to kind of, be a bit more light on your feet.
Yes, I shall go with my stealth, which is better.
Yes.
That would be 2 successes.
You start making your way across the bones quite lightly, and there's some slight cracks, but it's nothing loud enough to alert whatever that chittering noise is.
As I'm making my way across, actually, so it's like a sort of hallway littered with bones, but then on the walls, are there like openings? Are there holes?
There's tiny little openings that might lead into larger caverns, and it's the noise is basically carrying through the echo all through the entire cave.
As I make my way across and get to the other side safely, I shall motion to you, Bracus, again with the hand gestures, and then just try and guide him across the same path I took, hoping to assist him in his own stealth.
So I'm
You roll first.
going to start following his lead of moving very stealthily. What is it, stealth you used?
Yes.
Like that. And then I'll stumble a bit and I'll try to balance it up with dancing about on top of the bones.
Yes. So let's see how well you do on stealth.
Fantastically well. I'm doing no successes.
But
Let's see what your
assisted
success
him.
is.
How was that again? Just one dice.
Just roll one dice, and if you get success, unfortunately, actually, that's going to be moot point because he got no successes, so
you
you
can't
can't
tell.
assist the.
Okay.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there is just a very loud crack, and then the meeping and the chittering get louder, and you kind of hear a lot of scurrying around you.
I sort of take a moment to swear in my native tongue under my breath, which would be Gothic. And then I sort of just hurry him forward, more like, hurry, you fool!
Oh, and I scatter across the rest of the bit.
Yeah, and there's just crack, 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 crack. So you make your way across, and then you come to an opening where the cavern kind of opens upwards into a tunnel, into a bridge. There's quite a large gap in the middle of it, and you see a lot of those kind of little glints just all around you as you're making your way across the bridge. There's several kind of fires lit with oil lit, and yes, unfortunately, because of your noise, you see some kind of darting shadows kind of coming underneath, and we get some darting shadows as they're coming from underneath. You can't quite see them just yet, but you get a sense of movement just on ahead, just kind of in the dark recesses of that cavern.
I try to duck down behind one of these oil braziers.
I shall also duck to the other side from Bracus, trying to keep low.
So we are now in combat. The way that combat works in this game is that unless you're ambushed, heroes always go first. There is no initiative system in Conan. Instead, it's very cooperative in that you kind of decide the turn order that you want to go in and do your turns. So you can do one standard, one minor, and then as many free actions as you like. So minor actions are things like moving, standing, drawing an item from your belt. Free actions are things like talking to other people. And then, of course, your standard actions are your attacks.
So these oil lamps and stuff, would it be possible for me to kick them over onto these things that are climbing up on the side of the bridge?
You're going to run forward, so you can move a maximum of one zone. And the way that zones work is that it's kind of narratively themed, essentially, rather than squares. So the idea of this would be that you would be able to run forward towards one of the sconces as an action, and then that would be your minor action, and then your standard action would be push it over or something like that.
Trying to kick it over
Yeah.
so I don't get anything on me.
Yeah, sure. Yes. So what I'm going to say, that's going to be, so you move forward, and then what I'm going to say is that you make that a brawn check. because not a brawn check, an athletics check, yeah, because you're using your might essentially to push that over.
And I come and I charge up to it and I try to kick it. And well, is that a 9 or a 6? It's a 9, isn't it? Well, let's see. I've got 7, so it's 1 success.
These are quite sturdy, so unfortunately you push and you go, I think it might be bolted down. You kind of push it for a little while and this is not budging anytime soon.
I shall duck behind the nearest sort of part where the bridge just starts and sort of draw my scimitar and wait. I'm going to try and remain unseen for the moment.
Yes.
Maybe waiting for them to come and then taking the opportune moment to attack them.
Yes, so that is the ready action. So you were just waiting for the moment to strike, and then you will strike. So these guys are basically going to be grouped as a mob. And mobs move as one unit. So this is mob 1 and mob 2. So mob 1 is just essentially just going to spend their entire turn to climb onto the bridge. And then mob 2 are going to do exactly the same. Now you can see these creatures. And what you see is a very they look humanoid, just about, but with very pallid, almost corpse-like skin, like cold grey flesh, emaciated, and kind of just a feral nature to them. And they are snapping and quite rabid. Kind of reminds you of something that you might have dreamt of.
Yes, the creatures from my dreams. The creatures from memory. Once
Do they
again,
look like humans in the face?
Yeah, they definitely look quite human, but there's more kind of a rabid, kind of almost feral look to them. And their skin is just, it's like almost corpse-like.
I stop struggling with the oil scones and I look back and I see that Leonitus has disappeared, so I panic for a little bit. Well, do they look dangerous, I guess? Do they come up with weapons and stuff?
They just have their claws, and what long claws they are. Probably caked with blood.
Okay, so I give off a and start running backwards.
I ready myself again. I hold the hilt of my blade. I see Bracus come back to my line of vision and motion to him once again with a hand gesture to get into cover and ready himself. This is what he wanted, after all. Time has come.
They're now going to move, and they are going to spend their entire thing sprinting, which means they are going to move 2 zones up across the bridge towards you. And they have the ability of fear, which means that you have to make a little bit of a discipline check, because you come into you're being confronted by something that is inhuman. So, can you please make some discipline checks, please?
That's not very good.
No.
I, on the other hand, roll 2 successes.
And let's see what I roll with the damage. Again, you are not phased. You get a kind of a little tinge of fear.
What are they? And I like, okay, I see Leonidas now and he's gesturing for me to hide and I'm hiding. But obviously they've already seen me.
Yes, they have seen you just before you kind of tried to dart away. They are just going to spend their turn basically just waiting there, kind of on the bridge. And now it's your turns.
So, I will peek out a little.
Yes.
And they seem content to simply stand there, wait.
They're sniffing around. As they're getting closer and closer, you're getting this horrible corpse-like stench from them.
So they rushed up but then started to slow down. I guess I'll take cover anyways and see if I'll do the same. I'll prepare to strike if they come close.
They're all going to move as one unit. No, I think they're actually going to split off. But they cannot make an attack because they've moved. And you are not in the same zone as them.
Yes.
So they're just going to basically wait. Well, they're ready to fight, but they cannot reach you in time.
Yes, well, this is what I was banking on. I was banking on them coming to the end, taking a moment to split, and then I sort of just bellow at Bracus, "Now!" and come from the corner, ready to swing my two-handed blade straight into the first one as it rounds the corner.
Excellent. Yeah.
I fail on one, but on the other one I get 2 successes.
2 successes. So that's going to generate 2 momentum. You now have 3 momentum to use before you actually do your attack. Now, one of the suggestions I would say is spending maybe 1 or 2 of that momentum in order to do an instant 2 damage, essentially, without having to roll.
Very well, then I shall do that, spending 2 of my free momentum to add 2 auto damage.
So now let's have a look at the weapon. What weapon are you using to strike?
Two-handed scimitar, 4 damage CD.
4 damage CD. You also have something called a bonus. What is your bonus on your melee?
Only 0.
0, so you're only doing 4.
Funnily enough, I'm better at ranged, even though my bow is something that is I don't use much. I also have no mercy, which means when I make a melee attack, I may re-roll a number of damage dice equal to the total number of melee talents and ranks in those talents you've acquired. I'm guessing that's 1 at this stage.
Yes, it is.
So 1 dice.
So the way that a combat dice works is essentially 1 dot on the dice is going to be 1 damage. Then there's 2 dots on the dice. That is 2 damage. Then the 3s and the 4s are nothing, which is how I've been rolling on the courage soaks. And then this is the cool one. These 2 here, 5 and 6, they are 1 damage, and they also trigger the effect of the weapon. So there's things like vicious and intense. Does your weapon have any of those?
It doesn't say... Oh, it does, yes. It's intense and vicious 1.
Oh, this is going to be a bloodbath. So what intense does is basically if you do 1 damage, it automatically does an extra damage. And with vicious, for every one of those effects, you basically get another extra damage. So essentially those effects are now counting as 2 damage on that.
Excellent.
So this could
done
be
2 auto damage already.
Yes, 2
and
auto
then as I
damage.
swing my blade deep into this beast's gut, I seem to roll quite well. So that's 3 cool things and a miss. You know what? I'm going to re-roll the miss.
Yeah, let's reroll the miss. Okay, this is fantastic. So this is going to be the most Conan thing ever, because you swing that blade, and they don't have any armor. They're not wearing anything on their arm. So what happens is you cut your way through both of them, because if you take 5 or more damage in one go, it's when after armor has negated, you basically take a wound. And these guys are what's called a minion. Minions can't take wounds, they just die. So essentially, you just swing that blade and just cut your way through the 2 of them.
Yes, and as I do so, Bracus would see this is not the stance of some random barbarian. This is a soldier's stance, trained for battle, discipline, and I swipe cleanly through 2, yelling out, "To the abyss with you!"
And yes, they are gone.
In 1 swing. Okay, so I've got my cutlass and my talwar. That's what I use, 1 in each hand, or?
So a talwar would be quite hard to use in one hand. It is basically a sword created to use on horseback. It's a very long cavalry sword, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would go with the cutlass. Unless you want to go with the talwar, depends on the effects of the weapon.
Well, the talwar has cavalry 1, I guess, and parry.
Yes. So that's probably not going to be useful at the moment. So what was the other weapon? You got cutlass. What's
Cutlass
that?
had vicious 1.
Vicious, and we know what vicious does.
Yes. Well, I'm not that... Well, let's see. Let's follow his example. I'll go to attack with my cutlass. And there's a phoenix there.
Yes, that is one. That counts as that's a 1. So usually that counts as 2 successes on that 1 dice. And let's see how many successes you got.
Yes, and focus 2, so that's actually 3 then.
Yes, which means usually it's difficulty 1 to attack these guys. So, yep, that means you're going to be on to 5 momentum, and you've got 5 momentum now to spend in however you want. So there's all kinds of different things you can do. These guys are a mob, so maybe you want to spend a few of that momentum just to add some damage onto the attack and kind of follow in his stead.
Sounds good. Sure. Let's do some bonus damage. How much do I do?
So it's 1R, which it means it's 1 repeatable. So for every one of these, you get 1 damage. So every 1 momentum, you get 1 damage. So
how much do I need? I don't really know the hell.
Well, discuss with your friend, because it's also their
5
momentum
and
pool.
5, so I did 2 extra damage. I mean, you may as well do 3. How much damage does your weapon do?
It's 4 CD.
Oh, so same as mine, so maybe just
plus
an extra
the
2
vicious.
damage to start with.
2, yeah, okay. So
2.
let's bring it down to 3 then,
Yeah,
the momentum, and give them 2 damage.
Yeah, so
Just like that.
instantly 2 damage, and then we got our 4 CD.
So I start jumping out, and I immediately slice. I guess you slice with a cutlass. You don't.
Yeah, you slice with a cutlass. Yeah, you can stab with a cutlass, but yeah, slice. Yeah.
Yes. What I basically do is I almost jump past them and in one fluid motion, swipe at them, giving them that damage, and then bringing it down as I spin around, and.
So yes, those 2 3s and 4s do not count as anything, but we have our 2 from before. We have that, and we know that you have vicious, so the phoenix symbol is going to count as your vicious, so that counts as 2. And then you got those 2 on there, so you did 6, which is enough to kill one of them and give the other one a bad day.
Well, there we are. So I swipe past, bringing one down and hurting the other one along the way.
You kind of, in your flurry of blades, give the other one kind of a scratch across the shoulder. Okay, so it's the creature's turn.
Yes. We were preparing for ambushing them or attacking them.
Yes, so the creature, unlike you, they don't have skills or anything like that. They just have, essentially, attributes. Just to make it very simple for the GM to run the game. And so what I'm going to be doing is rolling 2d20, just like that. And their okay, so their attack is 9, and I got a 14 and an 11, so they just miss. They kind of wildly swing, but you're too fast, you're too nimble, you're just dodging out of the way of those strikes.
And since I'm close to this one, I'm gonna follow up with the next attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll strike again, darting out of their reach and then coming back in. And that's 2 successes.
2 successes, awesome. Okay, so they are not going to block it because they can't, because they're minions. So they're just going to be attacked, because that's what minions are there for. They're fodder. So can you roll me some damage, please? And you, because you got 2 successes, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 successes. You generate another momentum, which means you're now on 4 momentum, and you've got 4 momentum to spend to do awesome, cool things. Now, the list of momentum spends is just suggested. If you want to do something cool, suggest it to me, and I will say how much momentum that will cost to do it.
As it stumbles about trying to hit me and I'm darting out of the way, I see an opening and I kick at its leg so that it will tumble about and then press its head into the burning oil.
Okay, I'm going to say that's going to cost you 2 momentum as you do that. And then we're going to roll some damage. So I'm just going to roll some damage for that fire. And Yes, okay, we are looking at 4 damage. In fact, you finish it off. You burn its face as you kind of plunge it into the fire.
And then I let it go and it lies down flapping on the ground, just fire churning from its oil-drenched face.
Yeah, it kind of like screams and meeps until suddenly it just stops.
I sheath my weapon, taking a moment to close my eyes. A small bit of vengeance, as I reimagine my brothers, my men's faces, torn apart so easily. A little bit of vengeance has been had. I open my eyes again, weapon sheathed, nod to Bracus and go, let us move on quickly.
Yeah. I sit down kneeling next to the one that I just killed off. And I said, they smell quite bad, don't they?
They are creatures of shadow. Creatures from the abyss.
They're dead.
They are now.
Would you like to make a lore check to see if you might know what this creature might be?
Can I?
If you have the lore, you can try.
I mean, I've fought it so long, but I don't know if I ever learned anything.
Yeah, you might.
1 success.
1 success, okay.
I get 1 too.
Okay, so looking upon these creatures, one word kind of swims into your imagination, and that is ghoul.
I look up at you, and our eyes meet. Do we say it at the same time?
Yes.
Ghoul.
So yes, the horrible, emaciated corpse eaters that kind of live within forests or jungles or in old cities.
That chittering sound I heard before, was that from... Could that have been from them?
It definitely was from them. It's definitely them. Yes.
Okay, then at least we know, so that's good, I guess.
And the amount of the chittering tells you that there is a lot more out there than just those 4.
So I start moving over the bridge,
Yes.
and I see this abyss it's broken in the middle, is it?
It's broken in the middle, yes, and it kind of just plunges down into darkness, and now and again you just see something scurrying about within the darkness.
How did they pass by here?
I know not. I try and assess the area. There's nothing that could give away how one could pass this.
No.
But we think they did. There's no other way, is there?
No, there's no other way. So you kind of inspect the bridge for a little while, and yes, it definitely seems like they definitely went this way. Then you kind of, I'll tell you what, make me an observation roll.
1 success.
Yeah, that's enough to see it. It's quite in view. There are some like kind of hook grappling holds kind of built into the cave, maybe to kind of help swing something across. It might have been used to get them across the cavern.
So they might have had some rope then?
They might have had some rope, yes.
Do you have any rope?
No.
You will have some rope on you. Yeah, you're adventurers. You don't travel without some rope.
Of course.
Yeah. And of course you got your horses. You got to think of the horses. You would have some rope.
Yes. Let us try and use the rope to get across.
Okay, so I'm going to say that's going to be an acrobat. Well, first of all, we need to get that rope into place. So, yes, I'm going to say that is... Strangely, this because it's coordination, I'm going to say it's ranged weapons because you're essentially trying to throw it and lodge it into something. Yeah.
You're not going to attach it to an arrow and do the...
You could do it the cool way. You just fire an arrow.
Well, I do have a bow. I suppose that would be easy for me. I will take out the bow that I have had sheathed all this time. It is a fine-looking bow. It was gifted to me by someone important once. I shall notch an arrow, tying the rope carefully to it.
Yeah.
And with a practiced stance, will attempt to shoot it simply across.
Yes. So you shoot it across. Let's find out how well you do.
2 successes.
I'm going to say that's well enough. It flies across, embeds into the rock, and it seems very sturdy. Because, yeah, you did well on that roll. In fact, you generated another 1 momentum.
I give it a little test to see if it is secure.
It is secure, yes.
Shall I go first?
Sure. Nice shot. Nice bow.
Thank you. And I shall attempt to cross carefully.
Yes, so some acrobatics, please. And your agility.
2 successes.
Yeah, you're fine. You're straight across on the other side of it.
Yes, I make my way across carefully, straining a little bit, but I am not actually that heavy. My beard and hair do droop a little to the sides of the moment.
Yes, and is Bracus going to attempt to cross the bridge?
Alright. Did you walk on the rope? Like a
I
tightrope?
kind of climbed it,
Along
sort
it.
of along it myself. However, now I'm on the other side, I will be bracing it even further.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that you can assist him.
Okay. So you'll basically maybe tie it up to something or maybe hold
Yes.
it.
Yes, you can hold on to it.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll just grab the rope and try to make my way over as well.
Yeah, so acrobatics.
Right. Acrobatics. Which I can do with 2 successes.
Yes, you don't even need to roll this assist, you're fine, but it's 1 to 10 nonetheless. And you're across the bridge onto the other side. At this point, you can hear chanting in the distance.
Ritual begun.
Seems this god below doesn't like bridges very much.
No. You certainly seem to find the humor in these things.
Well, I'm a light-hearted man, what can I say? Someone has to do it.
Must be nice for some to have a life with no strife.
Oh, don't say that. I had my fair share of, well, disheartening ventures. But, I don't know. You seem moody. Has something happened to you? And do you recognize this place too? Is this a place you've been to? Or similar?
I pause for a moment, taking a breath. I have not been here before. Maybe I've seen it.
And that's when the memories start to come. And you remember descending those stairs with your company. You remember crossing that bridge with your company. And you kind of start to get a bit of a memory of why you were sent out into the desert with that company in the first place. Your king wanted treasure, and he also had learned about the city and sent a small contingent to go and try and enter through some other caves and basically get to the location. You had made your way into the city somehow, and that seems to be why they've kind of stepped up some security along the walls. And at this point, there didn't seem to be a sign of a cult at that point, but you remember very much that meeping chittering that was in the distance, and you also remember something else, something slithering and driving, something not of this world.
I sort of stare off into the distance for a moment. I start sweating heavily. It's unbelievable. I've had these dreams ever since, for years and years, but they were always distorted. I thought the last thing I remembered was an ambush in the desert. We actually made it down here. We had a mission. I was so dazed after it happened. Days wandering in the wilderness, almost to the brink of death. It was all haze, but we came here before. I'm here again. Ugh, and I just sort of clutch my head a little.
Huh. Are you saying anything of this? Are you saying all that?
No.
No.
I just sort of do that, and then I go, we need to be about our business quickly and leave here, or we will be doomed. There are things worse than ghouls in these parts of the world.
Let's try not to attract more attention then. But, what else is there?
You do not need to know. Let us go. Quick.
And I see his back disappear in front of me, and I start following after.
Yeah. Again, you're making your way through tunnels, and they seem to stretch on for a very long time. It feels like you've been traveling tunnel for just an hour, and then the chanting is getting louder and louder, and it opens up. The tunnel opens up into a large ceremony room. There is a pit in the middle, and a gaunt man is standing next to the pit with his hand outstretched as he chants. And there are several, they look like the guards. You can kind of get little glimpses of the gold-worked armour, but they're under also black robes.
How many?
There are currently about 4 of them on either side of the room, and then there's also the gaunt man kind of standing off, kind of with his hand outstretched towards the pit, and now and again you hear kind of groans and like inhuman noises just kind of coming out of that pit. There's also, to the side, several girls kind of chained together, kind of shivering, kind of eyes wide open in fear. They're frozen in place in fear. One of them is Shana.
I'll look around. Is there anything that I see in here that catches my eye that would be valuable?
The most valuable thing that you see in the room is the serpent necklace around the neck of the head of the cult. It almost calls to you, it's just gorgeous and gold with jewels in it.
How many people are there? We have the leader of the cult. How many men are with him?
There are 4 of those cultists standing around.
Very nice, I think to myself.
As you're making your way kind of very carefully, kind of peeking your head into the ritual, you hear kind of a muffled screaming coming just from off the side in another room. It sounds like Asher.
As I watch this scene, I'm not entirely sure how I feel. This has changed now. Not that I care for these poor people, although who wouldn't, I suppose, but more anger. We were sent here, and this god and his minions killed my men and sent me into shame. I say to Bracus, and claim whichever gold and treasures you want. We are going to end this. We are going to strike down this fool. Attempt to rob this place of power.
And before you started talking, I had been standing there trying to catch on to your idea of doing gestures. And I was trying to gesture, let's kill them all and take the necklace, but you didn't catch up on that at all. And
No.
Then I hear you mutter this. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's sneak up on them. Or do you want to shoot them with your bow?
I will shoot him with my bow, I say, pointing to the leader of the cult. Perhaps you should get into a good position first.
Are there these large candelabras and stuff around the room?
Yes, there are some large candelabras around the room. It's your typical cult place. There's some fires and some candelabras around the room, and they're just kind of swaying and chanting as something rise below in the pit.
I shall get into position and string my bow. I will then look to Bracus and nod and say, be swift. This must happen quickly. I've heard that men who run such things may have fell powers. I'm going to make sure he cannot do anything, but you will need to be ready to dispatch those guards quickly.
I whisper, all right. And I start making my way around to attack the nearest one.
Okay, so you're going to go and attack the nearest cultist.
While I string my bow and take close aim at their leader.
Let's go with that little stealth attack first.
Right. I duck down and I hold my cutlass tight. I try to move along the wall, especially when their rises come in their cultist hymns. No, 10 I needed to succeed.
So no successes. And I'm going to have a little bit of fun and play some Doom since you kind of failed that roll. And I'm going to add a little bit of a complication, which is you go to stealth across and you knock over that candelabra, which alerts him to your presence.
I knock over the candelabra and I stand there, frozen in my action, with big eyes. Hi, I say, and then I jump up and attack him.
Excellent. Yes, so attack him.
Well, that's one success.
One success. Okay, so these are a little bit different to the minions you've been fighting. Now going on to what we call toughened enemies. And toughened enemies can actually pay Doom in order to react and try and parry. So we're looking at one success, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to try and parry that with his no successes, which means that the blade just gets through. He tries to reach up the blade, but you just kind of slip under his guard and get him across the chest.
Whew, almost surprised, and I look back to see what damage I've dealt.
Yes. Okay, so we're looking at, 3 damage in total. So you've got 3 damage. Unfortunately, they're wearing brigandine armor underneath their robes. So you've done a little bit of damage to him, but unfortunately, he is of sturdier stock than those that you fought before.
Well, at this stage, I will, of course, unleash my bow attack on the leader.
Yes. Okay, so...
that would be my ranged...
Yes.
Coordination. And it's a colossal miss.
It's a colossal miss.
As I fire, he probably turns his head to see the disturbance, and it just whizzes past his head.
Oh, yeah, he turned to see the candelabra, and it just kind of... The arrow just goes straight past his head. And, you know what, I think it's Doom spend times. And he kind of narrows his eyes at you and goes, "How dare you? My God has granted me powers beyond your imagination. How dare you strike a priest of the god below?" And you'll see what that Doom did in a moment.
Well, my response for my next go will simply be to swear at him and cough and fire once again, taking slightly better aim. And this time, I do get 1 success.
1 success, okay. Yes, he is going to try and dodge out of the way, but he is a sorcerer. And while they are good at sorcery, are they good at dodging? Let us find out. They are not good at dodging. So the arrow strikes true. And let's find out where that hits on him, because before you were fighting minions and also toughened. He is what we call a nemesis, and he actually has hit locations. So roll this little dice here, and it's got all the hit locations on it, making it nice and easy.
Also, this one, when I get specials on the damage, it's a volley weapon. What does that mean?
So volley is, you can essentially, before you fire a weapon, you can spend one of your loads, and I think you have 3 loads in total. You can spend one of those to add an extra d20 to the roll.
Left leg.
Left leg. I don't know why I'm looking at the sheet, because he is wearing robes, and robes add very little armor, especially in the leg area. So that damage is going to go through.
So that will be, in this case, just 3 CD damage dice, which is a Phoenix 5 and 1.
Phoenix 5 and 1, and the bow does not have vicious, so this time it's just going to be the 2 damage.
I'm wondering if it's better just to add damage with momentum or
It's-
make a second attack.
It's probably better to add the damage, because he follows exactly the same rule. If you do 5 or more damage in one go, he will take a wound.
So I think in that case, with 3 damage done,
Yes.
2 would
Yeah.
bring it up to 5.
Yes, and he has very little armor, so yes, it goes through and does that wound. But unlike the others, he is not struck down by that single wound. He is still resolute. He got struck in the leg, and he kind of like rips it out. Curse you! I'll make you pay for that.
Did
And
my attack build any momentum, actually?
it did build one, I think, yes. Okay, let's have a look. I am going to spend some of that. Yes, spend 2 doom to do kind of a... I'm going to do an interrupt, almost. And it's now time for you to see what sorcery does.
Foul stuff.
Yes, so he stretches out his hand, and you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna basically try and summon a horror. So he's gonna try and summon that thing that dwells below. This is quite difficult. If he messes this up, this could be something very bad is gonna happen. So let's find out what he does. He gets 1 success, which is not enough successes to summon that horror. So you just kind of see some like blood trickling from his eyes, and yeah, he just kind of shakes. He's going to try and do it again another time, but this time he doesn't manage to use his sorcerer's powers to summon that which dwells below.
I take in a heavy breath. I feel perhaps if I hadn't successfully shot him in the leg,
Yeah.
it could have been very different.
Oh yes indeed.
And I kind of called Bracus. Bracus! Hurry!
So what's happening with me and the guards?
They are trying to finish the ritual. So while you have been attacking them, they've been kind of fending you off, but not actively attacking you. They're trying to complete the ritual. They believe that completing the ritual is the most important part, even if it costs them their lives.
But they're still trying to parry me, so I still have a
Yeah.
hard time actually getting through that armor and
Yes.
hurting them. I'll continue. I'll insist that they die.
Insist.
I suppose, or I don't know. Maybe when you shot an arrow at the sorcerer and the other ones are just fumbling about, and they're trying to deflect my arrows, maybe I'll charge him instead.
If you want, you can make a what we call a. You spend fortune, which are these things here, which you should have 3 each. They're special Phoenix tokens, kind of like my Doom tokens, but for you. And you can make a story declaration by spending one of those and make it so that they're like kind of distracted by the sorcerer, giving you a little bit more of an opportunity if you wish.
They're fending me off, and then they see this arrow striking true into the sorcerer and him starting to bleed from his eyes, and they get all taken by the things that's going around, and they get even more fuel to continue the ritual. And they don't want to care about this little fly who's darting around them, so the fly pretends to be a wasp and goes straight for the sorcerer in the middle.
Yes, that sounds great to me. So, yep, go for it.
And I paid one of them then.
Yeah, you've paid a fortune.
Cling, clang.
Run up and try and run that sorcerer through with your blade.
Yes.
Oh, that is a fairly... Yeah, so that is 2 successes on the Phoenix, but you have a 17 on the other. So that is 2 successes, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
2 successes. He is a nemesis. He is going to pay a doom and kind of try and dodge that. Oh, unfortunately, he got 2 Phoenixes. So he manages to very deftly, for someone of his age, dodge out of the way of that blade. with a swipe of his cloak.
Yes. He was just there.
Maybe, though, you could spend 2 momentum to make an extra attack. A second attack, right?
Yes, you could.
This could be a good time to do it.
Let's do it then.
Do that.
So, away goes that dice for now.
Yeah.
Oh, did I guess anything from that previous one? I don't.
No, because you basically got beaten by 2. But it has to be a secondary target.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So that's just for him.
And all that happens is that you don't roll the second attack. It just means that they suffer half the attack's damage.
Oh, so it's not an additional standard action?
No, it's a standard. It's secondary target within reach. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you can do the additional standard action.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, that's what I was going for. I was going for
I thought you were doing secondary target. Okay.
Oh, no, I thought we were going for swift action, which was that he gets an additional, increasing the difficulty by 1 step.
Oh, yeah, it is
His
by 1
skill
step.
test.
Yes.
Oh,
So that means it's going to be difficulty 2 to hit him, if you wish.
So that means I need 2 successes.
2 successes to hit. Yes.
I want to do that.
It's kind of cool, isn't it? Let's give it a go.
Yeah. It's what Conan's made for. Yeah. So that costs 2, I believe.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
it
what we
does.
had.
So that's all your momentum gone.
Yes.
I'm just gonna put a little thing on top to show it's gone.
It was just there, and I managed to just snatch a bit of his cloth. I miss with the blade, so I let my hand follow through, up backwards, and then let the blade go up into the air, and I catch it with the other hand, and I slice down at him, trying off my best acrobatic attack skills. And that's 2 successes.
You know what? That was so cool. I am going to grant you a free fortune point for being heroic.
Excellent.
Yes. So, how many successes is that?
That's 2.
2 successes. Okay. You know what? It's so heroic, I'm not going to parry it. Let's just see how much damage that does.
Let's see what happens then.
Okay, so we're looking at 1 Phoenix and 1 damage. So, again, what was your what on the Phoenix?
We got the vicious 1.
Vicious 1. So we're doing 2 damage? 3 damage. 3 damage to the cultist leader. So let's have a look. Yes, he's no armor, so this was 3 damage. He has taken a wound and he is not happy about it.
But I am. I smirk as I feel the blow land. Almost surprised how that came through. Do I roll where he gets hit, or...?
Yeah, oh well, he has no armor location, so it doesn't, if you want to do it thematically, we can. Yeah.
Let's do it then.
Yeah. He has been hit in the right arm, so you kind of swing your blade and bring it upon him. The hand that he had outstretched and was trying to do the ritual, it kind of just gashes into it and embeds. And as you pull it back out, there's a big chunk just missing from his arm.
It splatters across, and I move out of the way for the blood.
Yes. Oh, he is not happy with that. He is going to use Dismember. So Dismember means that he's basically going to reach out, clutch his hand towards you, and he's going to try and basically crush the life from you with his sorcerer's powers. Let's find out what happens. So, because he's using sorcery, a little bit of doom, and then we are going to see how he rolls. I don't know which school of sorcery he studied under, but yeah, he also fails to do that spell.
Well, considering I just did that to his arm,
Yes.
must be his concentration.
And now the guards have had enough. So they are going to move towards Bracus. Then one's going to move over here towards Leonitus. Another one's going to move towards Leonitus. Another one's going to move towards Bracus. And they are going to attack basically 2 each. So this group of 2 are going to strike. And they are going to get 1 success in attacking you. Now, do you have a weapon with parry on it?
I mean, the dagger would be, but technically my bow was out.
Yeah, your bow's out, so unfortunately you can't do this. So, in order to parry or dodge this, you will have to give me a doom back.
I will give you a doom back to dodge.
Yes, okay, cool. So, an acrobatics check, and you just need to beat that 1.
Which I do.
Nice. Okay, do you succeed it by any further?
3.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's going to generate 2 momentum.
Nice. I quickly stow away my bow, draw my scimitar, and roar at them. Shall not claim another man of Koth, and I will bury my blade into the closest one. And I get 1 success.
These are toughened, so I could spend Doom if I wanted to, but you know what? I'm saving that Doom for something. So I am just going to let that damage go through.
So that will be 4 damage. It's intense and it's vicious.
Yes.
So I will do those 2, and I shall re-roll this 1. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 damage.
And then 7, 8 damage? Is it the
Yeah, 7, 8 damage. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to let you run through the 2 of them. So.
Ah!
So how are you going to do it?
So I sort of draw my sword. I dive for the first one, and once again with a practiced stance, sort of drive the sword back and then straight through his gut. Such speed that he pretty much just blinks and goes, huh! And then as the other guard looks on in alarm and raises his weapon, I just boot this man off my blade and then turn to then side slash into his gut, entrails spilling on the floor.
You know, I love that. I absolutely love that. So that is going to grant you a fortune point.
Nice. And again, what sort of like, it's just like a narrative change in our favour.
Yes, it can also be used for bonus die. You can in any skill test. It can also be used to perform an additional action, and it also allows you to overcome weaknesses. None of you have taken wounds. You're big heroes. You haven't taken any wounds, and also give you a second wind. Kind of a nice little luck, basically system. So, yes, I believe it is time for Skulvar to do some sorcery again, and hopefully he is not going to fail this time. He is going to try and summon the horror again. He succeeds. There is a rumble underneath, and you kind of hear just kind of a hush fall over the cultists, and kind of a cheer as something starts to emerge from the deep. So this large tentacle with claws on it just kind of rises from the pit, and the cultists go, oh, in awe as this thing comes up.
As I see this abomination, I just yell to Bracus, throw the damn fool into him!
What happens? What is the sorcerer simply...
The sorcerer's arms are stretched, so you have now come to face what we call a horror. This horror has the ability of Doom Herald, and Doom Herald is essentially what it sounds like. It basically brings with it 5 Doom. Yes, and also, you both need to make some discipline checks.
That's not good, so I will re-roll one of those as I try my best to face this horror.
Yes, this horror from worlds unknown.
And that time I get 1 success.
1 success is unfortunately not strong enough to fight against the sheer horror of something from the outer dark, as it rises up and writhes unearthly, and you get the sensation that, yes, this is the thing that has been calling to you.
Although, I feel I also get 1 courage soak, but was that already written down?
Yes, your courage soak is essentially kind of like acts as your armor for courage. So we're going to negate that 1 because of the courage soak. You are taking 2 in the stress of trauma.
I try and steel myself, but cannot help but recoil. The horror. This thing knows me. I will not let it claim me.
As this thing rises up,
I think we all turn towards it as the guards fall down on their knees. My mind is trying to make out what it thinks about this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't think it's very nice at all.
No, so you are now going to get a roll, and let's see how well this does. Last time it was very good to you. This time not so much. So what is your courage soak?
Well, there's none of that.
No courage soak at all. You are taking 4 in your resolve.
I shudder, and I kind of want to just grab one of the guards by the shoulders and get behind him.
And the guards are still praying at the writhing tentacle. And yes, it's your turns. So let's
Well,
find what happens.
I do that. First, it's just a reaction, like I'm spontaneously just moving behind him, holding his shoulder, and then I'm looking down and he's just praying. So I push him and then boot him against this big tentacle.
So you're going to boot the Skulva into the tentacle. Okay, great. Yeah, make that roll for me. That's going to be, I think, an opposed athletics check.
The sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yes. And I try to sneak my hand across his collar and grab that necklace as I do. I'm going to use this point.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can use the fortune to declare that you are going to try and grab hold of the necklace as it happens. So, yeah, roll for your
Athletics.
athletics. Yep.
Ha! That's very high.
That is 2 19s. Do you have any training in athletics? Which means, do you have any numbers other than 0 in athletics?
Not really. I have just the normal TN, and then I have, of course, the chicanery talent, which allows me to perform tricks that seems outside of the realm of possibility.
You are untrained in athletics.
Yes.
Which means 19s or complications as well as 20s.
I see.
You just got a double complication.
Whoa.
So, I'm just going to take that as doom. Yes, for now.
And tell me what happens when I try to do this.
Yes, so you grab hold of the necklace, you try to boot him in, unfortunately you're just kind of just holding him by the throat at the moment by the necklace. I mean, you could try and choke him next go, but he doesn't go in. And yeah, he's kind of like thrashing and trying to break free.
Yes.
So, yes, what is Leonitus going to try and do?
Taking in this horror, seeing Bracus struggle. Damn fool. Why can't he just do one thing right? I will charge towards the pit. Blade ready. I must strike now, or we will be doomed. And I will charge forwards and swing at this creature.
Swing at the writhing creature. Okay, great. So, in order to attack it, because it is horror from the outer dark, first of all, you need to make a discipline check so that you do not recoil from it.
That is 1 success. Is that enough?
That's enough, yes. Yes, you are steeling yourself against this now.
I just feel the courage that once abandoned me. The faces of my men as they died to the minions of this beast. No, not again! And I will swing my bladed weapon, attempting to do a slash. And that is a complication, but also a 2.
So it's a complication. We'll get to the complication in a moment. But yes, the 2 definitely hits. You know, it's so massive. I'm not going to make it dodge because you're going to hit it wherever you swing. So yes, make that damage, please.
That is 2 phoenixes, 2 damage, and re-rolling this miss to do another 2 damage, which makes that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
9, 10 damage.
Yes.
10 damage, okay.
With those 2 being viciouses, yeah.
Yeah, so it has an armor of 6. So it takes 4 damage, which isn't enough to do a wound, but yeah, it's if it knows the concept of anger, it's angry.
And that's fine, because I will then use 1 point of fortune to then, in a flurry of attacks, just swing straight back again.
Yes. You don't need to make a discipline check now.
The second one will be a bit of a miss, unless I can't now throw one of these in to get an extra dice, can I?
Yes, you can.
And I sort of go wide a bit, and I'm just a bit frantic. I'm like, no, I cannot afford to miss. And still, I just miss.
Okay, so, yeah, you kind of blind rage is coming over you at this point, and you're just swinging wildly. You want to end this thing. You want to end the cult that is underneath the city and avenge your fallen brothers. But unfortunately, in your blind rage, you do not hit. Not this time. Okay, so I believe that is our heroes acted. So now let's talk about that complication. So that complication, basically the floor starts to rumble and starts to crack as several tentacles start to break out from the depths below. You kind of look through the cracks that it's coming through, and all you can see is a darkened abyss. And that is its turn. And let's go for the cultist. The cultists are going to assist the leader in something. Okay, they are going to assist the leader in trying to dismember the one that is attacking their god. As he reaches out his hand and attempts it again. Okay, that's a little bit better. Yes, he gets 2 successes. So it's going to be a discipline, but you will be paying me a doom if you want to resist it.
I'll give you a doom to attempt to resist it.
Okay.
And then I roll my discipline.
Yes.
Which would be fails and fails, but I will re-roll this 15. And it is.
Unfortunately, you're under the spell of the sorcerer as you feel kind of your bones start to crack a little as you just feel this tension, this pain course through your entire body. Oh, wow, that is a lot. Right, okay, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage to you from that spell.
And there is nothing I can do to resist that.
No, there isn't. And you are going to be taking that on your vigor.
Yes, 5, you said.
Yeah, 5.
And I feel my very body racked with pain and anguish. I feel fear. Bracus will not be able to aid me. All is lost. If only he could have killed the goddamn bastard priest. I just yell, Bracus! Ah!
And I must admit I feel a bit neglected how they all turn away, even me smothering him with his necklace.
Yes.
And I let go of that, and I take out my cutlass to just strike at the sorcerer from behind.
Oh, strike the sorcerer, okay. Yes. Let's go for that. Yes, so a melee check, please.
Yes, well,
11.
it's actually 11,
Yeah,
yes. I do have 11.
so you got 2 successes?
1 success.
1 success, okay. And because you're attacking from behind, and he's too engrossed in basically trying to complete the ritual, because it's still not finished, he is going to basically not roll and try and dodge that. So yes, we'll see how much damage you do.
How much can I do? Come on. Oh gosh.
Yes, that's a good roll. That's 3 phoenixes.
So, how much is it per phoenix?
So it's got a vicious, that weapon, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yes, we're looking at 2 each. So we're looking at 6. 6 damage. That does another wound to him. Like, let's find out where that wound is. Let's have a little... roll that location dice, and let's find out where that wound is going to be hitting.
And his right leg.
How do you attack him with in the leg?
What happens is, I'm going for his back, but then he takes a step forward to cast his spell. And so,
my cutlass goes down and it catches him in the leg as he moves forward, catching him straight in the Achilles.
You have done another wound to him. So they can take, Nemesis characters can take as many wounds as heroes can take wounds. So he is carrying on 2. He's got another 2 wounds, and then the next one he's dead. He's gone, essentially.
Finally.
So he stumbles forward.
Yeah. Do you want to make a story declaration that he stumbles towards the pit?
Yes, with his as his Achilles rip and his hamstrings, he loses his balance and tumbles forward towards the great tentacle there,
Yeah.
swinging about like a cobra.
Let's see if he's managed to keep stead. 2 20s. So that is both 2 fails and 2 complications for the leaders. And you know what I think this is going to be? I think you are going to kick him down that pit into the dark abyss below.
Finally, yes. And as I do, I try one last time to vault over to the side and snatch the necklace as I go.
Okay, yeah, let's make an acrobatics roll as you try to, like, kind of roll and grab it as he's falling into that pit.
All right. Come on. Let's do it. Oh, head. I got a head.
Yeah, that's the wrong dice.
That's the wrong dice. But still, 1 success. And that's what I get. 1 success.
I'm going to let you grab it. You grab hold of it, wrench it off him, and he goes, "No!" as he falls down into the pit and into below. And just keep hearing "no" as he keeps descending further and further into that darkness.
And I cradle the necklace for a second in my hand. And then it's vanishing.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I will spend a story point
Yes.
to say that the god brings down that ugly maw, the head-like orifice it seems to have, or mouth, comes down before me, opening wide. It is ready to take me. And it is at that moment, in defiance, feeling a little release of pressure as that spell fades, I shall drive my sword straight into its mouth. And that is where my attack will be. But the story point was to make it come down.
Yes. Yeah.
And I roll just 1 success. 1 success has been rolled.
I am not going to make it dodge because, like, you spent a story point to bring him into position. You have hit him. You just did no momentum.
Excellent.
So yes, you have hit him.
And for this, though, can I spend the 2 momentum we have
Yes.
to get some armor penetration?
Some armor penetration. Yes, you can indeed.
As I sort of go to, like, expose this beast's mouth past this horrific armor it seems to have. And I do 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
5, 6,
Yes.
and then and then Vicious adds another 1 as well? Because these
Yes.
are 2 normally.
Yeah,
so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes. 7, 8 damage to the creature. Let me just have a little check. Okay. Yeah, that's enough to do a wound to it. Well, actually, we're looking at the rest of the damage that you've done to it. You've done 2 wounds in total to it now. So it is, it's not happy.
Oh, actually, I realised I could re-roll one of those.
Let's see how much more damage. Oh,
It's
wow.
got up to 2 extra damage.
10 then.
So it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 damage.
10 damage, which, yes, that's enough to do 2 wounds in one go using the penetration. So, yeah, it's taken 2 wounds already through that, through the damage you've done before and through that mighty blow that you struck to its maw.
And I just roar in defiance, bleeding heavily from the ears and the eyes. Just, die, beast!
So it is the creature's turn, and the creature is now going to try and grab. No, it's gonna try and eat you again. It's just gonna try and attack you with its gigantic maw. Okay, so we're looking at 14 and a 20. which is another complication for it, and also it missed.
Can I suggest a complication?
Yes, you can.
Can I say that I kind of stepped back a bit, and the brazier that earlier sort of
The
fell
candelabra.
over,
The
the candelabra that fell over earlier
Yeah.
is now suddenly quite close to me, and the candles are not yet out.
Yes.
And I'm going to grab them at this moment of flummoxing and to try and bring that candelabra with those candles straight into its maw.
Yes. Yes, you can indeed do that. And I also really like that. So that's another fortune for you.
So we'll follow up then with that then, my go. And I will do that. That will be a melee attack. Which is a complication, but also a phoenix, so 2 successes.
Yes, it's always a success with a complication. And the complication is that through the pain of having the candelabra driven into it, the tentacles have started writhing around and started grabbing onto pillars.
Yes, and I look around and see the temple and these things, and yes, I drive forward that candelabra of the flames into its mouth. How much damage do we think this improvised weapon would do?
I'm going to say it does... Let's say 3 damage. Yeah, let's go 3 CD. But I'm going to say it's also vicious.
Nice. And that would be
4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
5 damage, yes. Okay, so yes, 5 damage.
Flaming damage.
Because it's fire, it's not physical damage. And I'm looking at its immunities. It does not have immunity to fire, which is good. That means you've done another wound to it. As it yells and writhes in pain from the burning.
Right, and as all this happens, I've got the treasure. Now all I need to do is save the Maiden's Fair, so I start running over to them to release them from their bonds.
So you can spend your entire turn basically doing a sprint action. Well, no, they're right next to you, so you don't need to do that. Yeah, you can do that as a minor action, and you've still got your standard action, so you can try and take out the cultists at the same time.
I cut and I lose their bonds, and I try to get the cultists up in line so that I can push them into one another, like push one onto the other, and then leap after and cut them with the cutlass.
Do you have any story points that you want to use?
Yes, I've got one for that. The cultists are feeling...
They're lined up, ready for the strike.
Exactly. The cultists are waddling about because the ground is shaking ferociously, and they're not sure. And they suddenly turn and they see me cutting loose the bonds of the women, and so they start running to me, both of them. I just cut them loose in time, and I'm able to swing. I try to swing about so that they both fall into the brazier that is behind them.
Yes, push him into the fire.
I'm having a bit of a Robin Hood moment over here. Or actually, maybe it's a Jack Sparrow moment.
It's definitely.
They're running at full speed, but also the ground cracks up around them, so they start to stumble as they come, and I just assist them as they find their way towards the brazier. So I suppose I roll an acrobatics roll, perhaps, to...
Yeah, I'm going to say that's an acrobatics roll.
Yes.
If you manage to successfully do this, I'm going to give you a fortune point for this.
I got 2 successes.
Well, then you have a fortune point, because that is just awesome. And playing to your character, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the best fighter, but they're very good at manipulating everything around you.
Yes, exactly. And make use of it. And annoying people.
Yes.
So they fling themselves into the brazier, clawing their eyes as the charcoal...
Yeah. So roll your free dice, because that's what we said we were going to do for fire. So, yep. I remember it's vicious.
Oh, well then. So were these 2 plus the vicious?
Yes.
2, yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
7 damage.
Yeah, 7 damage. Yes. So, yeah, 7 damage to the both of them. Yeah. How do you take them out? Because they are gone.
Yes, they start to claw at their faces from the charcoal getting into them. Their robes catches flame. I take the other brazier and I push it towards them so that they completely catch flame, and I scream in pain and try to roll around on the floor, but now they are overwhelmed with coal flying over them.
Yes. And they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, the only thing that is left in this room is the creature.
It's the big thing.
And I believe it's its go.
Oh, it is its go. It's gonna try and snap at you again. And is it gonna actually hit you? Let's find out. Yeah, with 2 4s, it is in fact going to hit you. Would you like to make an acrobatics roll?
Yes, I would, to dodge out of the
So
way.
I get a doom,
Yes.
and then you make an acrobatics roll. You need to beat 2.
5. So that was 1 success only.
1 success only. You are being hit by its full force, which is, because it's an abomination, 9.
9.
9.
Oh no.
Yeah, this could be quite bad. But you are coming against the horror of the Outer Dark. This is unlike any foe you have countered before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. And what is your armor?
My armor, whereabouts?
Let's find out. Oh, on your torso.
2.
2, so you're only taking 4. There is another thing you can do. If you want to sacrifice the armor unless it's on your chest, you can negate the wound. But that armor is gone.
You know what? Let's do that instead.
Yes, okay. So that's the sacrificial armor mechanism of this game.
Yes. So we'll reset that. Like, it comes forth, biting at me hard. I'm unable to dodge. But I just am able to move back a little so that instead it just clamps a large amount of my frontal armor and rips it straight off, flinging it into the abyss. I'm exposed, but maybe there's still a chance.
So that's its turn. You could still hear Asher kind of like screaming in pain in the other room. Meanwhile, the rest of this is going on.
I will use a hero point
Yeah.
to get 3 dice for this.
Yes, that's a great thing. Yeah.
As I, with all the strength I have left, swing once more for this creature's mouth. This time, I've let the flaming candelabra sort of loose,
Yes.
staying in its mouth probably as it churns around.
Oh, yes.
And it's back to my sword. I just try and go straight through its central coil now.
Yes.
And that is not good. And as you just see me sort of lose all my balance and for a moment look like I'm about to fall into the pit, I spend another dice of heroism to get a 2, which is 1 success.
1 success.
Oh wait,
okay.
no, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. Yeah, so roll that damage.
Just as I'm about to fall into the pit, that moment, I just suddenly catch my footing, veer back, and strike. And I roll 4 damage. And re-roll one of those. To do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage.
5 damage. You know what? It's the end of this creature. So let's see, how are you going to end this thing?
I slash across. It roars in anger. The temple trembles even more, and you start to see bits of the very pit itself start to fall away. I stumble. It looks like I'm about to fall. I have to sort of step back to sort of stop. It comes straight down upon me, and I just instinctively thrust my blade straight up without even looking and spear it directly through its mouth. I withdraw. It recoils, and I fall back a few paces as the entire pit around it crumbles into the abyss.
It screams out in pain and just recedes back into the pit, back into the depths from which it came.
Alright. And can I use a story point here?
Yeah.
Because as the tentacles flail about,
Yeah.
there's a banging on the door.
Yes.
There's a banging on the door on the side where presumably our old companion Asher was hiding.
Yes.
And the tentacles flail and smash the door open, and Asher gets the door straight in his face. We see him getting the door in his face and stumble backwards, trying to catch his balance, and as the maidens run out, I yell to him, Asher, get your ass up off the ground! And he does as well to start running together with us.
Yes. So he was in there with a torturer. The torturer has seen his god defeated by these mere men, and he throws his blade down. He does not want to tackle you. And Asher just runs and follows you out into the cave. So now the cave is angrily shaking as the creature writhes around in pain. Pillars are starting to fall. Rock is crumbling. I need to make an acrobatics or athletics check. Athletics would be to run very quickly. Acrobatics is to dodge out of the way of the things.
I make 1 success on my acrobatics check.
Yes, so you kind of just basically roll out of the way as a pillar crashes behind you. Right. And then Bracus, are you keeping beside him?
Yes, I'm dodging out of the way as well, trying to keep light on my feet using my acrobatic skills. And that's terrible.
Yes, you unfortunately catch a bit of rock kind of hitting you. It's not going to be too much, but let's see. It's going to be nothing. In fact, what he thought was rock was just dust. You just brush it off and keep running forwards.
Yeah, so there is this moment where I stop and I see something falling down on me and I scream, and it's just a bit of sandstone that softly breaks on my forehead.
Yeah.
And I stand there and I realize people are gaining away from me like 5 meters just for me stopping and still and screaming. So I start running again.
I'm like, Bracus, you fool, run!
And the cave is still violently shaking. You have now made your way to the bridge. You go across the rope that was still there, and you keep making your way through, and now you're into that bone-laden cave that leads outwards. You hear the meeping and chittering, but they're kind of dispersing off in different directions. So one last acrobatics or athletics roll as you make your run towards the back.
2 successes on my athletics check as I dive into the bones, deftly jumping between them. I will not fall now. I'm so tired, but I will not fall now.
Yes.
And after you comes me jumping and flailing, trying to get by. And that's horrible again. I mean, listeners, I actually have 10 in acrobatics. It's just never...
Yes, yes. Well, I'm going to say that Leonitus has had enough of you falling behind, and I'm going to let you assist.
Yes, I will just see Bracus just suddenly trip and fall into the bones. I swear, I run back. Just behind him, I can see the corridor starting to fall down, cave in, and I just reach out a hand to grab him like, come on, you damn pirate fool. 7.
7, yes. So, yes, you got that 1 success as you are pulled away just from a bit of the cave kind of collapsing behind you, and start making your run towards the temple. And you make your way up the stairs. You hear the meeping and chittering getting quieter and quieter as they go into their little caverns beneath the city, and you emerge with dust kind of like settling just behind you into the cold and dark desert night. Ramin kind of stands there and he goes, by Ishtar, there was such a disturbance. What has happened?
And I come up with almost leaning more on his daughter than actually helping her out. Well, I guess this is what happened. Here you go. She's saved. The ugly guy died. I guess that's about it, isn't it, Leonidas?
I take in a deep breath, wiping blood from my nose, and briefly checking my devastated frontal armor, and I say, the god below is no more. And people are free to live whatever lives you wish, good or bad. I care not. All I care is that I have avenged my kinsman. Finally.
And there is a cheer from Ramin as he grabs hold of his daughter, hugs her tight, and says, please, please, you must come back to my place, and I will throw on a feast, and you will have drinks, and then you can be back on your journeys. But I insist, you must come back home.
Can you say no to that, Leonidas?
I give a very weary sigh and shake my head. No, I can't.
So yes, you go back, you have a feast and a drink and a bit of a party. It seems that there was a little bit of a rebellion kind of stirring in the city, and the trickle of the cult being destroyed. Yes, it becomes a raucous kind of street party with everyone celebrating that finally the festival, the Chosen, is over and the cult lie dead. And Asher turns to you and says, we didn't get any treasure, did we? But we made it with our lives.
What the hell happened to you anyway?
They took me for questioning and they started torturing me, asking me where I got the map.
Lucky for you, we happened to be in the same place at the same time.
Yes, it is lucky. Well, it will be double, no, triple your pay. We need to get back to Courage.
Quadruple my pay. You're gonna need to pay for this armor.
Of course, I will pay for the armor. I am happy to be alive, and I'm happy if you saved me. And let us never speak of what we saw below. So
I sort of stare off into the distance as the celebrations are occurring around me. I have allowed myself to be administered for my wounds. I've even had a drink. But do I feel as if that call, is it gone?
The call has been silenced.
Small vengeance, I say to Bracus. Small vengeance. It's a start.
Well, if you're gonna kill something bigger next time, I might tag along as well. And
Okay.
I pat my pocket where I've pocketed the nice little golden necklace of snakes and rubies.
And I just take him in for a moment. And at that statement, I actually laugh. Quite heartily. Just laugh at this foolish madman. But maybe I couldn't have done it without him.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the adventure The City of Shadows for Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed of. Conan is published by MODIPHIUS, and we would like to thank them for connecting us with Mark Tresidder, our game master for this session. The music was made by Knut Avenstrup Hauge for the video game Conan Exiles, and was used with permission from Conan Properties International. Check out the game if you too long for the days of high adventure. Finally, a big thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. The show would not be possible without your generous support there. You give us so much energy, help us cover our costs, and open up time to record and edit. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.